really, again, my pleasure to be here because we've got a lot of new and exciting things going on and moving forward. And I want to share them with you. Let's see if I can get this.
Is it plugged into your computer? The little thing?
Probably,
That's how I feel.
wouldn't that be? The battery's probably dead.
That's chronic fatigue.
Oh, no, I didn't turn it on.
If only we all had it.
I might be assigned to I'm a lousy engineer, right? Oh, for goodness sake. Well,
Your mouse pointer's right in the middle of the screen.
and
Here you go, let me think with it.
I think it's actually the slideshow.
Oh.
What? Technology here. Oh boy. So, play slideshow.
We'd rather hear you, we don't need a slideshow.
Okay.
You need a battery?
You know, why don't you?
It's
yeah.
something that's misbehaving with my slide presentation. So it looks like we're going to have to kind of escape out of that after each slide.
We've done that before.
So again, our vision is the same, and that's one of a world free of ME CFS. Our mission is the same, and that's to make ME CFS understood, diagnosable, and treatable. But the strategy of how we get there is now new and modified and exciting. And we're doing that by activating and engaging our community. It's you guys, to participate in research. That's how we're going to get there. That's how we're going to accelerate the discovery to safe and effective treatments. And we're also going to be able to do that by aggressively expanding the funding for treatments and a cure. That is our really key strategic direction that we're just laser focused on from today forward. And we do all of that with innovation, collaboration, and integrity. Go to slideshow.
Oh,
So just go right there. So why is this important? And actually, how have we gotten to this place where we haven't gotten very far in anything, let alone ME CFS? And health in general, there's a lot of illness, there's a lot of disability out there. Why have we gotten there? When we have basically a $139 billion biomedical complex. Each year, $139 billion is spent in biomedicine. Okay? That's a lot of your tax dollars going towards what? Actually to the production of about, down arrow.
it won't go.
Oh, for Pete's sake.
It's not what she wanted to say.
I guess that's true.
You've lived with her too?
I guess I'll just talk.
You can just wing it, you're not even gonna know whether
You
you
know
are
what's,
or not.
it's funny, I've been
Yes.
working with Dan Morcoli. How many of you know Dan Morcoli, the guy who runs the CFS Knowledge Center, the ME CFS community? And he's sick with CFS, and the past 6 years, he was major, big time advertising. Anyway, I've been working with him, and I shared this with him, and he said, you know, you don't need this presentation.
Right.
You just gotta talk.
Okay.
And the message is strong, so you just gotta talk. So $139 billion is spent each year in biomedical research, which results in about 850,000 papers published in the peer-reviewed biomedical literature. That results in...
Want to turn it off?
No.
That results in each year about 21 FDA-approved
Unplug it.
drugs. Okay? So 139,850,021 FDA-approved drugs. Okay, how efficient is that?
Not very.
Not very efficient. In CFS, it's actually worse. Over the past 25 years, we've spent $150 million in ME CFS research. This has resulted in about 5,900 publications in the peer-reviewed biomedical literature. And anybody want to guess how many FDA-approved treatments?
Zero.
Zero. That's exactly correct. That's exactly correct. Now, the reason this happens is because the system that we use,
This is good.
the system that we use is broken. Maybe you know, let me do something here
Click on
real
the
quick.
slides.
Because this is a cool slide. It has a bunch of animation in it, but it's a cool slide. The reason that our system works this way is because it's set up on a pipeline that has actually been broken. We have basic research going on at the NIH and in universities, a lot of basic research that takes a variable amount of time, costs a lot of our taxpayer dollars. Again, that's where that $139 billion goes to. Results in a bunch of papers. And again, with this variable amount of time, I know scientists that have sat at the bench in their laboratory studying the same molecule for their entire career. So a lot of times, what is going on at the bench side never makes it to where the FDA even knows about it. There's the next step after something is discovered is to put it into clinical research to show whether or not it's effective in what it is, to use it as a biomarker. Then, once it's demonstrated to have some type of clinical efficacy, it can go to the FDA for review and approval. This clinical research, clinical development domain usually takes anywhere from 5 to 10 years. And then once it finally gets to the FDA, maybe another 2 to 5 years for approval. That's the broken system. That's the system that takes about 15 to 20 years to get a discovery, if it actually leaves the laboratory, to the FDA for approval. 15 to 20 years, $139 billion. A lot of money, incredibly inefficient, broken system. What's happened over the past 5 years is the realization that the system's broken. How do we fix it? What do we need to put in place in order to get those bench-side discoveries into clinical development and research to the FDA a lot faster. And what you can't see down here is that in CFS, there are, in fact, a lot of investigators, and that map underneath there shows that there's investigators throughout the world that are conducting quite a bit of research at this end of the spectrum, over here, at the basic end of the spectrum. They have not had the infrastructure or the wherewithal to be able to take those discoveries that they made, get them validated, get them into clinical research to get them to the FDA. That's why we have 0 FDA-approved treatments.
Does it stop at the clinical research? Is that where the problem is? Does that cost a lot of
It
money?
actually, most of it's been stopped here. It hasn't gone here because we haven't had this piece in place, the infrastructure to take the basic discoveries to the clinic.
So they haven't even gotten to the clinical studies.
That's
point,
exactly
which
right.
is another big
That's
expense.
exactly correct.
Yeah.
There are a handful of clinical investigators here. Nancy Klimas, Jose Montoya, and Cindy Bateman dabbles in some clinical research, but that's a handful. And even those guys are working handicapped because they don't have a lot of the information that was generated down here. So again, there's this big disconnect. And what's been realized over the past couple of years is that what is needed is this bridge between the basic and the clinical realm. And that's called translational research. And essentially what translational research is providing that infrastructure, that bridge between the basic and the clinical. And what that bridge does, is it literally carries these discoveries very quickly from the bench to the clinical development realm to the bedside, essentially. Now, what took 15 to 20 years is now anywhere from 2 to 5 years, 2 to 7 years. And there's examples of that now in cystic fibrosis. There's examples in MMRF, multiple myeloma, by organizations just like ours, the CFIDS Association, that have had patient-driven, patient-centered research programs take off over the past couple of years, really embrace it, empower the individuals to drive the research process. And it's clearly, it's working. What's next?
Right there.
Okay. So as I said, we've always had our mission of making ME/CFS understood, diagnosable, treatable. We've always been there. And we've worked at it, we've come at it by publishing the CFIDS Chronicle. How many of you are familiar with the CFIDS Chronicle? For 23 years we've published that. There is nothing like that out there. It is now a library that probably by August is going to be readily accessible, freely accessible on our newly designed website.